Ethan Carver stepped off the shuttle onto the purple-tinged plains of Virelia. The sky shimmered with streaks of violet and orange, a haunting beauty over the ruined cities that spread below. Broken towers jutted into the air, and twisted metal and debris littered the landscape. The planet was quiet, almost eerily so, but the signs of recent battles were everywhere. As part of the interstellar peace mission, Ethan had seen many war-torn worlds before, but this one felt different. There was no clear enemy now, only survivors struggling to live amidst the ruins of what was once a thriving civilization. He adjusted the straps of his pack and surveyed the horizon. The air smelled metallic and dry with a faint hint of something floral, the local flora somehow surviving despite the destruction. He walked slowly, boots crunching over shards of broken glass-like crystals that reflected the strange light of the twin suns. He had been sent to ensure that no hostile factions remained, and to offer help to anyone still alive. His eyes scanned every shadow. The silence made him uneasy. Then he saw her. She was crouched near the remains of what had once been a tall tower. Her body was slender, but her posture carried the weight of grief and exhaustion. Her skin shimmered faintly in the strange sunlight, a soft pale green unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Her hair was silver, cascading like liquid light over her shoulders. She held her belly protectively, and even from a distance Ethan could sense the emptiness in her eyes, the deep sorrow of someone who had lost everything. He froze, unsure how to approach. Part of him wanted to run to her to offer help, but another part feared the unknown. He had dealt with alien life before, mostly in scientific missions or in conflict zones, but he had never seen someone like this, so alone, so fragile, yet carrying a strength he could not yet define. "Hello?" Ethan called softly, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. The alien woman flinched at the sound but did not flee. Her eyes, large, luminous, and golden, met his. There was a flicker of hope or perhaps curiosity. Then she spoke, and the sound was musical, soft, almost like wind moving through crystal towers. I am Leora," she said in careful English as if she had learned it slowly. You are human?" "Yes," Ethan replied. "My name is Ethan. I'm here to help." "If I can." Leora hesitated, her gaze dropping to the ground. "I do not know if anyone can help now. They are all gone. My maid, my people, they are gone." Her voice trembled, and Ethan noticed the faint glow of tears in her eyes. He took a cautious step closer. "I'm sorry. I don't know what to say, but you're not alone anymore." She looked up at him, fear and grief mixing in her expression. "I am alone, my child. It will not survive without a parent. My mate. He died in the attack. They took everything." Ethan's chest tightened. He had seen the aftermath of war many times, but the rawness of her loss struck him differently. She was not just grieving a civilization. She was grieving a family, a future. "Wait," he said gently. "Your child, it's coming?" "Yes," Leora whispered. "Soon. If I do not find a protector, the child, it cannot live. Our species. We cannot survive alone without guidance. It is our law, our way." Ethan felt the weight of her words. The responsibility she hinted at was enormous. He was far from home, a human soldier on a foreign planet, and she was asking him to step into a role he had never imagined. Protector. "Guardian, Father, tell me," he said softly, kneeling slightly so he was closer to her level. "What can I do? How can I help?" She studied him for a long moment. "Will you be the father? Not of my people, but for my child? Teach it, protect it, guide it?" Ethan blinked, shocked. His mind raced. He had trained for combat, for diplomacy, for exploration, but never for this. Could he raise a child of an alien species? Could he love and protect someone so different from him, and yet? He could see the trust in her eyes, fragile as it was, and it stirred something deep within him. I don't know if I can," he admitted honestly. "But I will not let your child die. I will do whatever I can." Her eyes softened, and for the first time she allowed a small, almost hopeful smile. "You so brave. Perhaps humanity has courage beyond what I imagined." Ethan stood slowly and offered his hand. She hesitated, then placed her delicate hand in his. There was a strange warmth in the contact, a connection that transcended words, species, or the devastation around them. "We should find shelter," he said. "It's not safe out here, and you need rest." Your child. We'll make sure it's safe. She nodded, leaning slightly on him for support. Together, they moved through the ruins, stepping over twisted metal and fallen stones. Ethan noticed small signs of life. A few surviving plants, a stream running faintly in the distance, birds with iridescent feathers that watched silently from the shadows. It was a world that had been broken but not yet defeated. As they walked, Leora spoke quietly about her home, about her mate, and about the people who had once thrived on this planet. Ethan listened carefully, learning not only the facts but the spirit of her civilization. They had valued honor, knowledge, and compassion above all else. Despite their differences, Ethan felt a kinship with her people. Humanity and alien life could share the same virtues. Night fell on Veralia faster than on Earth. The twin moons rose slowly, casting silver and blue light across the ruined city. Ethan found a half-intact building with sturdy walls and a roof that had only partially collapsed. He helped Leora inside and checked the structure for safety. "This should hold for tonight," he said. "It's not perfect, but it will keep you and the child safe." Leora nodded, settling in a corner and gently cradling her belly. "Thank you," she whispered. I do not know how to repay you. Perhaps words are not enough. Perhaps it only deeds can repay." Ethan shook his head. "We help because it's the right thing to do," he said. "It's human. And I think it's something that matters to you too, isn't it?" She smiled faintly, the first time he had seen a genuine expression of relief. "Yes, courage. Compassion. They are universal, perhaps. Humans and my people can be allies, even family." They shared a quiet moment, listening to the wind rustling through broken towers and distant alien wildlife. For Ethan, it was a moment of realization. He had not just found a survivor. He had found someone whose story, whose life, and whose child could change him forever. Outside, the night deepened. Stars glittered across the violet sky, and Ethan felt a sense of purpose he had never known. This was no longer just a mission. This was a promise to protect, to guide, and to stand by someone who had nowhere else to turn. Leora rested her head against the wall, breathing slowly, and for the first time in days, she felt safe. She had chosen trust, and in doing so, she had sparked a bond that would shape the future of her child, and perhaps the future of two species. Ethan sat nearby, watching over her, ready for whatever came next. He did not know the challenges ahead, but he knew one thing clearly. He would not leave her or her child alone. And so, under the alien moons of Veralia, a human man and an alien widow began a story of hope, courage, and family that would soon stretch beyond the boundaries of their worlds. The first light of Veralia's twin suns filtered through the cracks of the ruined building, casting soft violet and gold hues across the dusty floor. Ethan stirred awake, feeling the cool metal under his hands, and glanced at Leora. She was already awake, sitting quietly, her hands resting on her belly, eyes closed in concentration or prayer, it was hard to tell. The morning air was filled with a strange, sweet scent of alien flowers that had grown through the cracks of the building. "Morning," Ethan said softly, careful not to startle her. Leora opened her eyes slowly and smiled faintly. "Morning, human. You rested well?" Ethan shrugged, a small smile tugging at his lips. "Better than I thought I would." "You?" she nodded. "Sleep comes, sometimes even in grief. My child, it is strong. I feel it moving." She placed a hand gently on her belly, and Ethan saw the faint rise and fall of her body as the baby shifted. A strange sense of awe filled him. He had seen birth many times on Earth, but the intimacy of life forming inside another being so different from himself filled him with respect and wonder. "I want to help you," Ethan said after a moment, finding the courage to speak what he had been thinking since he arrived. "Not just today, but long term. I know I'm human and you're not, but maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe what matters is what we do now." Leora looked at him, her golden eyes searching his face as if trying to see into the depths of his heart. You are brave. You do not know the ways of my people, yet you speak as if our lives matter. Perhaps there is hope for humans yet." Ethan laughed softly, a sound that echoed strangely in the empty ruins. "I'm no hero, I just see what needs to be done, and I won't leave you alone." Leora's lips curved into a smile, faint but real, and she extended her hand toward him. "Then we will begin." The day passed with quiet labor. Ethan helped Leora gather supplies from the remains of nearby buildings. Broken containers held water, food, and strange tools, all relics of a civilization once thriving. Ethan's military training proved useful as he navigated collapsed structures and assessed safety. Leora watched him work, occasionally guiding him toward fragile structures or showing him how to handle local plants for nourishment. "You are careful," she said, her voice filled with curiosity. "Most humans would rush in. You think first." "I learned that rushing in can get people killed," Ethan replied. "Experience and I want to protect you. And your child." Her eyes softened at the words. "Protection. It is important. My mate, he would have done the same. I see fragments of him in you." Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. The weight of responsibility was heavy, but so was the spark of connection forming between them. He was not only helping a survivor, he was becoming part of a story larger than himself. As the suns climbed higher, they ventured outside to search for more stable shelter. The ruins of the city stretched endlessly, with crumbling towers and empty streets that whispered of lives once lived. Ethan kept a close eye on the skies and the shadows. Verelia, despite its beauty, was not completely safe. Small bands of scavengers roamed, taking what they could find, sometimes violently. "I have not seen others like us," Leora said quietly as they walked. "My people, we were scattered, hunted. My mate, he died defending the young. I was alone until you came." Ethan nodded, feeling the gravity of her words. "I know, and we'll make sure it stays that way. No one will take your child from you, not while I'm here." The words seemed to comfort her. Leora stopped and looked at him directly. I do not know humans well, but you have honor, courage, my child. It will know these things too." They reached a half-intact building, more stable than the one from the night before. Its walls had survived the battles and the roof was mostly intact. Inside, the air was cool and safe from the harsh sun. Ethan set about cleaning the space, using debris to block openings and reinforce the walls. Leora watched silently, occasionally guiding his hands or suggesting arrangements that would make the space more suitable for her needs. As night approached again, Leora spoke of her culture. She told Ethan about rituals of family, honor, and protection. She spoke of lullabies her mate had sung to unborn children, songs filled with stories of bravery and hope. Ethan listened, fascinated by the different cadence of her language, and then slowly, carefully tried to repeat the words, laughing softly when he failed. Leora's laughter joined his, clear and musical, filling the empty building with warmth. "I will teach your child the ways of my people," Leora said. "Stories, courage, respect. But I see, you have something too. Humans. You have strength, patience, and love, my child. It will know these as well." Ethan looked at her, feeling a deep sense of connection. "Then we'll teach it together," he said firmly. "And I'll protect it, no matter what." Their days began to follow a rhythm. Ethan and Leora explored the nearby ruins for resources, always alert for threats. Sometimes they found small pockets of alien wildlife, creatures with shimmering wings or bioluminescent eyes. Ethan marveled at the resilience of life in such a devastated world. Leora explained the local ecology, teaching him which plants were safe and which ones could heal. One evening, as the sun set and cast violet shadows across the city, a low growling noise echoed through the ruins. Ethan immediately positioned himself in front of Leora, scanning the area. From the shadows emerged a small group of scavengers, humanoid in shape but with jagged armor and glowing eyes, clearly intent on claiming what little remained. "Stay behind me," Ethan whispered. Leora nodded, her hands instinctively moving to shield her belly. The scavengers approached, weapons raised. Ethan's training kicked in. He moved with precision, using the environment to his advantage. Rocks, debris, and his own agility allowed him to fend off the attackers without unnecessary violence. Leora watched in awe as he protected them both, a living shield of human courage. When the scavengers finally retreated, grumbling and defeated, Leora exhaled deeply. You are brave. My mate, he would be proud. My child, it will know strength because of you." Ethan smiled, though his heart was still racing. "We're a team now," he said. "I'm not leaving you." That night, as the moons rose over the ruins, Leora taught Ethan a lullaby. Her voice was soft, melodic, and filled with love for the child yet to be born. Ethan listened, feeling the weight of the promise he had made. The bond between them was growing stronger. Two beings from different worlds, joined by responsibility, compassion, and the shared goal of protecting new life. For Ethan, the days on Virelia were no longer just a mission. They had become a journey of connection, courage, and hope. Leora's trust in him, her vulnerability, and the life she carried had awakened something in him he had never felt before. He understood that the true mission was not just peacekeeping, it was nurturing life, no matter its origin. And for Leora, Ethan represented something she had almost given up hope of finding: courage, compassion, and the promise that her child would not face the world alone. She felt safer, not just because of his skills or strength, but because he had chosen to care, to stay, and to stand beside her in a world that had already taken so much. Together, they prepared for the future, one day at a time, one step at a time. Ethan helped Leora build a small safe corner within the building for her child. They reinforced walls, cleaned the area, and even found soft moss-like plants that could serve as bedding. Every act, no matter how small, strengthened the bond between human and alien, protector and parent, friend and companion. As the night deepened, Leora rested, her breathing calm. Ethan sat nearby, scanning the ruins for any signs of danger. He felt a strange mixture of fear and determination. Fear for the unknown challenges ahead, and determination to face them all. For the first time, he realized that the measure of a human was not just in strength or skill, but in the courage to love, protect, and care for others, even in the harshest conditions. And under the alien moons, with the violet sky stretching endlessly above them, Ethan and Leora began the slow, careful work of becoming a family, not bound by blood or species, but by trust, compassion, and the unspoken promise that they would face the future together, come what may. Days passed on Virelia, and the bond between Ethan and Leora grew stronger. Ethan had adapted to life on the alien planet, learning which plants could nourish Leora and which areas were safe from scavengers. Despite the harsh conditions, a quiet rhythm had formed. Each day was a small victory, finding water, reinforcing their shelter, and preparing for the child that would soon arrive. But the quiet was fragile. Danger lingered in the ruins. The mercenaries who had scavenged the city before were still out there, and Ethan knew they would return. He could see the signs, broken branches in unusual patterns, footprints too large for the local wildlife, and distant sounds of movement that didn't belong to the planet's native creatures. One morning, Ethan awoke to Leora sitting quietly, her hands resting on her belly, her face pale with worry. "Ethan," she said softly, "I feel it. The child is coming soon. Perhaps too soon." Ethan's chest tightened. He had expected this day, but the thought of the birth happening far from medical care on a world so alien made his stomach churn. "We'll be ready," he said firmly. "Whatever happens, I'm not leaving you or your child alone." Leora's golden eyes met his. "I trust you, my mate," would have wanted the same. Courage. Courage will guide us. The rest of the day was spent preparing. Ethan gathered the softest moss-like plants he could find, cleaned the shelter, and set up a small space where Leora could rest safely. He reinforced weak walls and even fashioned a crude signaling device, hoping it could attract help if needed. Leora moved slowly, conserving energy, and occasionally whispered lullabies to the child, her voice melodic and soothing. As the suns dipped low, a faint rustling echoed outside. Ethan froze, hand on the makeshift weapon he had constructed. Shadows moved among the ruins, small, coordinated, and clearly hostile. A band of scavengers had returned. "Stay inside," Ethan whispered, placing himself in front of Leora. "Do not move." The scavengers prowled near the entrance, searching for anything of value. Ethan noticed their armor, pieced together from scraps of human and alien technology. He understood their intent. They were desperate, dangerous, and willing to harm to survive. Ethan's mind raced. He could not let them near Leora or the child. Using the shadows and his knowledge of the terrain, he moved quietly to position himself above them, ready to defend the shelter. His heart pounded, but he felt a strange clarity. This was what courage meant. Not reckless heroism, but protecting those who could not protect themselves. Hours passed, the scavengers prowling outside but never venturing too close. Ethan kept a vigilant watch, and Leora rested, breathing steadily, unaware of the danger so near. By the time the first stars appeared in the violet sky, The scavengers finally retreated, frustrated by the lack of easy prey. Ethan exhaled, his muscles sore but his resolve stronger than ever. "Thank you," Leora whispered, her voice tired but warm. You are a protector, my child. It will know safety because of you." Ethan smiled softly. "We're a team, and we'll face whatever comes next together." The night passed uneventfully, but Leora stirred early the next morning, her body tense. Ethan noticed her breathing quicken, the faint glow around her belly pulsing with life. "Ethan, I think it is starting," she said, her voice a mixture of fear and anticipation. He nodded, his mind focusing entirely on the moment. "Stay calm. You are not alone. I'll help you through this." The labor began slowly. Ethan guided her to the prepared area, ensuring she was comfortable and safe. He offered words of encouragement, holding her hand and reminding her to breathe steadily. The child's first movements were subtle but unmistakable, and Ethan could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him like never before. Hours stretched on. The labor was difficult, taxing both Leora and Ethan. He remembered everything he had learned about resilience, courage, and patience. He spoke softly, telling her stories of human strength and hope while she whispered the ancient lullabies of her people. Together they created an environment of calm determination, even in the face of uncertainty. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the child emerged. It was small, fragile, and unlike anything Ethan had seen. Its skin shimmered faintly, echoing the pale green of Leora's, and its eyes reflected the golden light of the alien world. Ethan held the newborn carefully, feeling a wave of awe and responsibility. "You did it," he said softly to Leora, who rested exhausted but smiling. "Your child is alive." Leora reached out, touching the child gently. "Yes, alive, strong, courageous. It will grow. Because we are here. Because you stayed." The bond between them strengthened instantly. Ethan realized that courage was not only about facing enemies, it was about standing by those who relied on you, even when fear threatened to overwhelm. Leora's trust in him and the child's very existence reinforced the human values he had always believed in: strength, compassion, and perseverance. The following days were a mixture of joy, exhaustion, and careful vigilance. Ethan learned to care for the child, understanding its unique needs, while Leora shared knowledge of her species' culture, their ways of nurturing and teaching. Together, they created a small family, bound not by species but by love and responsibility. Even in moments of rest, Ethan could see the challenges ahead. The ruins were dangerous, supplies limited, and other survivors or scavengers could appear at any time. Yet the presence of the child and the bond he shared with Leora gave him a new sense of purpose. He was no longer just a human soldier on a foreign world. He was a protector, a father, and a symbol of hope. One evening, as the moons rose and bathed the ruins in silver and blue light, Ethan sat beside Leora, the child resting between them. "Do you ever wonder," he asked softly, "if humans are meant to face challenges like this? Far from home with everything uncertain?" Leora looked at him, her golden eyes reflecting the moonlight. "Humans, you are strong in ways my people did not imagine. Courage is not only in weapons or battle, it is in love, in care, in choosing to stay when all seems lost. You are brave because you act, not because you seek glory." Ethan smiled, a warmth spreading through him. He felt proud, not of achievements in war or exploration, but of the life he had helped bring into the world and the trust he had earned. The child stirred, and both Ethan and Leora watched in quiet wonder as new life adjusted to its surroundings. Days turned into weeks. Ethan and Leora created routines, scavenging for food, teaching the child simple movements, and ensuring the shelter remained secure. Their teamwork strengthened, and even small victories, finding clean water, a safe fruit-bearing plant, or spotting approaching danger in time, brought relief and joy. One afternoon, Leora spoke softly. "Ethan, my mate, would have been proud, not just for the child, but for you. You show honor, courage, and love, all that my people value. Perhaps our worlds are not so different." Ethan looked at her, understanding the weight of her words. "We are different," he said gently, "but that doesn't mean we cannot care for each other or for this child. That's what matters." The child's first laughter, a soft musical sound that echoed like wind over alien ruins, brought tears to Leora's eyes and a smile to Ethan's face. In that moment, the hardships they had faced, the dangers, the uncertainty, all felt worth it. They had created something pure, something that symbolized hope for the future. And yet, Ethan knew the challenges were not over. Virelia remained unpredictable. Other survivors or threats could appear. But for the first time, he understood that courage was not the absence of fear. It was acting in spite of it, standing by those who depended on you and protecting life in all its forms. Together, Ethan, Leora, and the child faced the alien world. Stronger and more united than ever, they were no longer just survivors, they were a family. And in their bond, they discovered the true strength of humanity, the ability to love, to protect, and to create hope, even in the most distant and dangerous corners of the universe. Weeks had passed since the child's birth, and life on Virelia had settled into a fragile but comforting routine. The twin moons cast silver shadows over the ruins, and the violet sunlight gave the world an ethereal glow. Ethan, Leora, and the child, whom they had decided to name Kale, were slowly forming a family. Ethan had become skilled at caring for Kale, learning the nuances of Leora's species and their unique needs. He fed, comforted, and protected the child, watching in awe as Kale's eyes reflected the golden glow of Virelia's skies. Each day brought small miracles. The first crawl, the first attempt at reaching for a flower, the first soft coos that sounded like laughter. Ethan felt pride he had never known, a deep sense of purpose that went beyond any mission or duty he had undertaken before. Leora watched him quietly one morning as he gently rocked Kale in his arms. You are more than I imagined," she said softly. "Humans, you carry strength, courage, and patience. All at once, my child. It will grow knowing what it means to be loved." Ethan smiled, a warmth spreading in his chest. Love, that's something anyone can give, no matter where they come from. Kale, we'll have both of us. That's what matters. Their days were filled with practical challenges as well. Virelia, though recovering slowly, was still dangerous. Wild creatures roamed the ruins, and remnants of the mercenary bands continued to pose a threat. Ethan reinforced their shelter, set traps and alarms, and trained Kale in small, safe ways, showing the child how to stay aware of danger even as they played among the ruins. One afternoon, while exploring a nearby abandoned settlement, they encountered a small group of survivors from Leora's species. They had been hiding in caves and under collapsed structures, waiting for someone to come for them. At first, the survivors were wary, observing Ethan carefully. Humans were not common among their kind, and trust was not easily given. Leora stepped forward, placing a hand on her chest in greeting. "This is Ethan," she said softly. He is family. He is protector. He has helped us, and he has helped my child survive." The survivors exchanged cautious glances, then approached slowly. They examined Kyle, who was wrapped in soft moss, eyes wide and curious. The elders whispered to one another, speaking in their melodic language. Finally, one stepped forward, placing a hand gently on Ethan's shoulder. "You have shown courage," the elder said, his voice deep and reverent. "You stayed when others might have left. You protected our child, perhaps. You are worthy of trust." Ethan inclined his head, feeling the weight of their approval. "I only did what was right. I will continue to protect Kale and Leora for as long as I can." Acceptance was not immediate, but over the following days, the small group of survivors began to share their knowledge, food, and shelter with Ethan and Leora. They taught Ethan about the deeper customs of Leora's people, rituals, songs, and lessons for raising children in a harsh world. He listened carefully, adapting his human ways to fit these traditions, blending cultures to create a new environment for Kale. Leora watched him with quiet pride. "You are learning quickly, my people. They will see that humans can be family too. That we are not so different," Ethan smiled. "We are different, yes. But difference does not mean separation. It means we can teach each other. We can grow together." As Kale grew, so did the bond between him and Ethan. The child began to mimic his movements, reach for his hands, and even laugh when Ethan made funny faces. Leora's eyes often glistened as she watched them, knowing that her child was learning courage, compassion, and love, the best of both worlds. But life was not without challenges. One morning, as Ethan and Kale were gathering water from a small stream, a loud crash echoed through the ruins. Wild creatures previously unseen had entered the area, Ethan shielded Kyle instinctively, positioning his body between the child and the approaching threat. Leora arrived quickly, her own skills evident as she used sharp tools and her agility to fend off the creatures. Together, Ethan and Leora managed to drive them away without harm, but the incident reminded them that survival on Virelia required constant vigilance. "We must teach Kale," Ethan said, holding the child close. "He needs to know how to stay safe, but he must also know courage. Fear will come, but bravery is what matters." Leora nodded, placing her hand on Ethan's shoulder. "Yes, and he will learn it from both of us. Humanity and my people, together he will be strong." Evenings were moments of peace. They would sit together beneath the violet skies, Kyle in the center, listening to stories of Earth from Ethan and lullabies from Leora's world. The combination of human imagination and alien wisdom created a rich environment, nurturing Kale's mind and spirit. One day, Leora spoke quietly to Ethan. "Do you ever worry about humans, about other people? Will they accept what we have built?" Ethan looked thoughtful. "Perhaps not everyone. But what matters is what we do here. We are creating family, teaching our child what courage and love mean. The rest will follow in time." Her eyes reflected relief and hope. "Yes, you are right. We cannot control the world, but we can control our actions, and we are building something strong." The child's first attempts at walking were met with encouragement and laughter. Ethan held Kale's hand, steadying the little steps while Leora guided him with soft words and gentle touches. The process was slow but filled with joy, and the family celebrated each small milestone as a victory over the harsh world around them. As they settled into their routines, Ethan also began teaching Leora and the survivors simple human ways of problem-solving and defense, showing them how to construct safer shelters, gather food more efficiently, and anticipate dangers. Leora's people absorbed his teachings quickly, blending them with their own traditions. The result was a small community growing stronger through cooperation, respect, and shared knowledge. One evening, as the moons rose high, Ethan stood outside the shelter, watching the horizon. Leora joined him, holding Kale, who yawned sleepily. "Look at them," she said softly. "Our child, he is learning. He is growing. He will carry both of our worlds forward." Ethan smiled, a warmth in his heart he had never known. "He will, and so will the people who survive with us. Virelia, it is broken, yes, but we are not. Not if we stick together." Leora leaned against him, her golden eyes reflecting the stars. "You have shown my people what humans can be. Brave, compassionate, loyal. Perhaps our species can be friends, even family." Ethan nodded. "We already are family. That's what matters, and Kale, he will carry that forward." Together, they watched the moons rise, a family forged in adversity and strengthened by trust. Ethan realized that heroism was not only about fighting wars or winning battles. It was about standing by those who could not stand for themselves, about nurturing life, and about building connections that would endure even in the harshest conditions. The survivors began to trust Ethan fully, sharing their stories, knowledge, and skills. They accepted him as part of their community, recognizing that courage and love were universal traits not limited by species. Ethan, once an outsider, had become a symbol of hope and protection, a human whose values had earned the respect of an alien world. And so, life on Virelia moved forward. Kale grew stronger every day, learning the ways of both humans and Leora's people. Ethan and Leora continued to teach him, guiding him through challenges and celebrating every small success. They had created not just a family, but a community built on trust, respect, and shared values. For Ethan, the journey had transformed him. He had arrived as a soldier, a visitor in a strange world, and now he was a father, a protector, and a bridge between species. Leora's trust, Kale's laughter, and the acceptance of her people had shown him the true strength of humanity. Courage, compassion, and the willingness to stand for others, even in the face of fear. And beneath the violet skies of Virelia, as the moons cast their gentle light over the ruins, a human man, an alien widow, and their child thrived, proof that life, love, and hope could survive even in the harshest of worlds. Years had passed on Virelia, and the world slowly healed from the scars of war. The ruins of the old cities now coexisted with small green patches of thriving flora, and streams that had been choked with debris now ran clear. Life was returning, But it was the family that Ethan, Leora, and Kale had built that stood as a testament to hope, courage, and unity. Kale was no longer the small, fragile child he had been at birth. He had grown strong and curious, a blend of human resilience and Leora's species' unique traits. His golden eyes sparkled with intelligence and his small hands moved with grace and purpose. Ethan watched him from a distance as he explored the flowering fields near their shelter, teaching a group of young survivors from Leora's people how to gather safe fruits and identify the plants that could heal. Ethan felt a swell of pride. "He is learning quickly," he said softly to Leora, who stood beside him, her eyes glowing gently in the morning light. "He has your courage and my stubbornness," he added with a chuckle. Leora laughed softly. "And he has both of our love. That is more important than anything else. He will grow, knowing what it means to care, to protect, to survive without losing heart." The child ran to them, a bundle of energy and laughter. "Father, Mother, look what I found." Kyle held up a small cluster of glowing flowers, one of the rare plants that thrived even in the ruins. Ethan took the flowers, kneeling to Kale's level. "These are wonderful, Kale. You have a good eye." Kale beamed. "I want to help everyone." "That's my boy," Ethan said, ruffling his hair. Leora placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder, smiling warmly. Together they looked at the child who represented the union of their worlds, a living symbol of hope for both human and alien futures. Life was not without challenges. The occasional scavenger threat, wild creatures, and unpredictable weather kept them vigilant. But Ethan had learned to face these dangers calmly, teaching Kale the principles of courage and resourcefulness. Leora guided the child in understanding his heritage, teaching him the customs and values of her people. Kale was learning the best of both worlds, human courage, compassion and resilience combined with Leora's species' wisdom, honor and connection to nature. One day, a small group of human explorers arrived on Viralia, sent by the Interstellar Peace mission to assess the planet's recovery. They were cautious, surprised to find not only survivors but a thriving family led by a human. Ethan stepped forward to greet them. "I am Ethan Carver," he said. "This is Leora and our child Kale. We've been surviving and rebuilding together." The explorers were taken aback. They had expected ruins, despair, and scattered survivors. Instead, they saw hope. A human who had embraced an alien culture, protected life, and created a family where none had existed. "You stayed?" one of the explorers asked. "You could have left. Why did you stay?" Ethan looked at Kale, who was busy teaching a young alien child how to climb a small tree. "Because I had a choice," he said simply. "I chose to protect life, to stand by those who could not protect themselves. That's what humanity is capable of. That's what we must be." The explorers nodded, understanding the depth of his words. Leora stepped forward, her golden eyes shining. "He is worthy. He has been family, protector, and teacher. He is human, yes, but he has honor, courage, and love, all that my people value. That is enough." As days passed, the human explorers helped strengthen their community. They shared technology, medicine, and knowledge, while learning from Leora's people about the planet, its dangers, and its natural resources. Ethan and Leora acted as a bridge between the two cultures, showing that humans and aliens could coexist, learn from each other, and thrive together. Kyle grew rapidly, displaying qualities from both parents. He learned to hunt small creatures safely, identify dangerous plants, and navigate the ruins with agility. But more importantly, he learned kindness, compassion, and responsibility. He shared his food with younger children, comforted those afraid of the creatures roaming the forests, and helped mediate small disputes within the community. Ethan often watched from afar, amazed at the child's courage. "He has everything we hoped for, and more," he said quietly to Leora one evening. She smiled, leaning against him. "Yes, and he will carry both of our worlds forward. Humanity, your people, have courage beyond what I imagined. And now through Kale, it will live on." Years turned into decades, and the family became a cornerstone of Virelia's rebuilding efforts. Other survivors from both human and alien backgrounds joined them, creating a small but thriving community. Ethan taught human values, courage, honor, and the importance of protecting others. Leora shared her species' wisdom, respect for life, patience, and harmony with nature. Together, they shaped a society that was stronger than the sum of its parts. Kyle, now a young adult, stood at the edge of a cliff overlooking the growing settlement. "Father, Mother, look at everything we've built," he said, his voice filled with pride. The community below worked together, harvesting plants, constructing new shelters, and teaching younger children the skills they would need to survive. Ethan placed a hand on Kale's shoulder. "We did this together, Kale. You and I, Leora, and everyone here. It's proof that courage, compassion, and determination can change a world." Leora joined them, her eyes reflecting both the setting sun and the pride in her heart. "You are ready, Kyle. Ready to lead, to teach, to protect. And you will, because you carry both of our legacies." Kyle looked out at the horizon, a mixture of human determination and alien grace in his posture. "I will make you proud," he said quietly. "I will protect our people and our home." Ethan knelt beside him. "You already have. You've shown us what hope can do. And your courage. It reminds me why humans matter. Our greatest strength is our ability to care, to protect, and to act with honor. That is the legacy you carry." The moons rose, casting silver light over the settlement. The ruins below no longer seemed haunting. They were reminders of resilience, lessons of survival, and the foundation for a better future. Life had been hard, full of danger, grief, and uncertainty. But through it all, courage, compassion, and unity had prevailed. As night fell, Ethan and Leora walked back to their home, Kale trailing behind, laughing as he played with other children. "Do you ever think about the day we met?" Leora asked softly. Ethan smiled, watching Kale. "Every day. That moment, it changed everything. It showed me what humans are capable of: love, bravery, and hope. And it reminded me that even in the darkest places, life can survive and families can form in the most unexpected ways." Leora nodded, her hand brushing Ethan's. "We created something strong, something that will last. Humans, your people, they have a gift, and together, we prove that life, love, and courage can bridge worlds." The wind rustled gently through the alien flora, and Kale's laughter echoed in the distance. The community thrived, and the future looked bright. Viralia, once a planet of ruins and sorrow, now held a legacy of hope and unity, built by a human and alien widow and their child. Ethan stood and looked at the night sky, the twin moons reflecting in his eyes. "This is what it means to be human," he said quietly. "Not just to survive, but to protect, to love, and to create a future worth living for. And Kale, he will carry that forward." And so, under the violet skies and silver moons of Viralia, life continued. Humans and aliens lived together, teaching each other, learning from one another, and building a world founded on courage, compassion, and hope. The child, Kale, would grow into a leader, guided by the lessons of both worlds. Ethan and Leora had planted seeds of unity and resilience, and those seeds had blossomed into a community that would endure. Viralia was no longer a place of grief and loss. It was a home filled with laughter, learning, and love. And in that home, a human man, an alien widow, and their extraordinary child proved that humanity, its courage, compassion, and perseverance could shine, even across the stars. The legacy of their choices, their care, and their bravery would ripple across generations, reminding everyone that the power to protect, to nurture, and to hope is the true measure of greatness.